So, as always, welcome everybody to our IOTA Community Governance call, the regular one on Thursday. Today, a bit later, like 2 hours later than normally, and I think I will keep it like this. Yeah, basically, I hope we get a couple of more people from European and also for West Coast US people. It's a bit friendlier than being super early in the morning. And as always, we talk about governance. And this is already our second call because we had yesterday also one. And we have moved into, I mean, if you have followed this call over the last couple of months, we had a bit of a lazy time while we were waiting for the vote, and we didn't have so much things to really work on. But now that we have the decision for the vote and we have the upcoming Shimmer network, the group here decided to get back into a really productive mode. And there was a decision taken last week from the people that generally attend this call and mostly put their free time and effort into community governance, that we wanted to focus on two of these calls per week, mainly on governance questions around the Shimmer network. And then we'll have an additional call on Wednesday also to also move on in specific questions around the Treasury DAO so that this also gets moved forward. But so today we will mainly focus on Shimmer governance. We already had a quite productive call about this yesterday. And for those of you that haven't seen it maybe, in the governance announcement channels, I have shared the presentation for here. And in this presentation, there is also the link or the links to the documents that we are currently working on, which is the Shimmer governance framework, which kind of is kind of a proposal from my side, um, how I wanted to have like a basic foundational layer of how governance can be. And basically what we're doing in the moment is we are discussing this document. Especially JD has created an amazing amount of very good ideas and feedback to this doc. And basically, what we are trying to do is work through this document, refine it so that it represents the wishes of the community and that it works best. And yeah, that's the thing that we are basically trying to do with this meeting. For those of you that haven't been here yesterday, we have also Asa here. Asa is also from the IOTA Foundation. She's working in project management in market adoption, and she will help this initiative, this governance group, with project management tasks, organizing things, getting things better together, doing some project management magic for us so that we actually can define tasks and we become more task driven and basically can find a good way how we as a group together can tackle this huge shadow that we have ahead of us in defining Shimmer governance and also building the community treasury DAO. So let me see. So like I said, in the doc there is so this would be kind of an agenda for today that we maybe get a short input what Asa has done from yesterday to today with the docs that we have. And then we will focus on talking about the Shimmer governance framework. And best, I think, would be go through the open questions, see if maybe some or one or two of these questions we can already answer in this call if we find group consensus. And the other things, I thought and I hope we can define some, like JD suggested, to have 1, 2, 3 people sticking together and taking on a specific question as a task. that they can maybe then next week in one of the sessions provide recommendations or a solution or provide feedback on this thing so that we have, if people have would like to do this and have some time over the next couple of days, 1 to 3 hours to do some research and to work on a specific thing. We can define this here. ASA can keep track on these things, and then we can move through a more task-driven approach and actually get things done from week to week. I hope you are a bit okay with this. Nobody objects.
I think that's great.
This is what I wanted to hear. So maybe maybe Asa, can you shortly give some input of what you have currently done? Maybe also I will share my screen with, because Asa has worked on the document with the questions and structured it a bit. Let me see if I'll. Here it is. I share my screen with. Oh no, you see it already. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Holger. And yeah, hello everyone from, like, for those of you who are not in the meeting yesterday. So as Holger mentioned, my name is Osa and I'm working with the IOTA Foundation as well as a project manager. So I will support a little bit with the approach to tasks here to try to facilitate the process of creating this government framework and with the DAOs as well. So from what I've done since yesterday is that I have grouped these questions that came out of the governance framework document that Holger shared with you. So I have grouped these questions into different categories so they're a little bit more easy to have an overview of. And yeah, essentially, as you can see maybe on the screen here, I've done the categories definitions, roles, and then roles with regards to the different roles. Mostly there are moderator questions, also some questions on forum and admin role. And then I have a category of proposals and category of polls and voting. And yeah, with some different subtopics within there, for example, discussion and influence on IOTA mainnet. I have also some questions that only have, like some categories that only have one question so far inside, for example, trust level, this cool down period, smart contracts, and then I categorized some as administration. For example, the questions regarding if we want to exclude certain terms from the ability to submit proposals or how to set up discourse login abilities to offer multi-accounting protection, for example, and also one question on design. So yeah, it would be great if we could go through these questions during our meetings, maybe starting from today or next week, to make sure that we get them solved to continue working on this governance framework.
Yeah, I think that's basically pretty cool. Also, I don't know if I'll share it shortly here because also Asa has worked on a second doc that is a bit about to have it's a bit of more project management focused in a way of it would define tasks and activities and dependencies, DRIs and dates and timelines. I don't know if we are already there to work and to talk about this specific timelines and things, but I actually like it, especially because she also has kind of two different approaches. One would be like a categorized approach where we generally work on categories quite freely, as I understand it now. And the other would be a milestone based approach where we basically work through different steps and define milestones that we as a group want to achieve and follow up through like a milestone timing approach on those things. Yeah, that's a bit of a maybe a foresight. Maybe we can go a bit deeper into this in the next meeting once we have a bit of once we have some tasks and responsibilities defined, hopefully, and we can see how this plays out, and then maybe decide also which approach fits better for the group, if we go on a milestone based or on a category based thing. Don't know, Asa, you wanna say something shortly about this doc and this approach?
Sure. Thank you for doing an intro to it. So, yes, I think it would facilitate maybe a little bit if we have a document with certain tasks expressed and when we would like to have them like finished, like maybe who is working on them, just to have us something to have in the background. It doesn't have to be super strict because we know that all you like have limited ability to work on this, but just to know what is to be done, what has been done already. And yeah, as Holger mentioned, then we can decide as we start working on it if it fits better to have a milestone-based approach. Maybe we could have like a PRIs for each milestone, or if we just would use this category-based approach and simply define some tasks into different categories and work on them. Yeah, I'm happy with like with anything you decide. I would be happy to hear what you think about it as we start working from next week.
Sounds good for the group, huh?
Yeah, I think that's great. Do we have a public link for that milestone chart?
Yeah, Asa, you can share it in the Shimmer framework channel in the Discord. In the Discord.
Sure.
Yeah. And then everybody can have a look on it until next week and maybe already figure out what might work the best way.
Yeah, and
Um,
I
yeah.
think in our, I think it'd be good to try tackling the questions in each meeting and see sort of how that goes, and then maybe test kind of offering, let's say, roles moderator and roles and forum admin as a category. And then if 2 or 3 people want to take that and sort of tackle that over a week period, I'm thinking the team wise will probably be a bit quicker because then there's sort of something tangible coming to to come into the meeting.
Hmm.
In our experience, it's easier to go through something that's already built and come to group consensus rather than kind of trying to create it in that meeting. But we could certainly test things out because this is all new, kind of building this in a global decentralized manner. So,
Yes.
but
Yeah, that,
I really like the categories and the milestone tracker. I think that's great.
yeah, I think also I really like it.
Yeah.
Cool. So I have um, maybe it's easier for you to see it on the screen. Um, Basically, I mean, I think I, from the people I see in this meeting, I hope all of you had a look already in the Shimmer governance framework document. So, but if you want me to explain a little bit more the approach, I can happily do this, or we move on and start looking into some of the questions and maybe can start defining who, what, when, and things like this.
I mean, I personally uh,
Yeah,
read and understood
you
but
you
if
have
anyone else needs to,
yeah
sure.
you have read it 6 hours or something like this already. I mean, it's really great, JD, how much feedback you gave and like how you really worked into the doc. That's super valuable. Um, for the others, if you basically know what we are talking about, let's check some concrete questions that have been basically raised by JD from the document. So, like I said, if you want the links to all this thing, just look in the governance announcement. There is this slideshow. The slides are here, and you have the link to the docs in the slides. So we have let's say, a long document, which is the Shimmer governance framework that I propose. And then we have a shorter doc with a collection of the questions that you've seen, which ASA has also collected and categorized already. So you have the links to both documents in this sheet. And so one important thing that I see there have been quite a lot of questions arising in this document is the role of forum moderators in our discourse forum, where basically governance decisions should happen. I proposed this thing because in the end, it's quite clear that somebody needs to take on some administrative tasks in such a decision-making process, because surely we will have spam, we will have proposals that are completely out of scope or completely not fit into the proposed governance of Shimmer network. And then basically we would need some people that do some housekeeping in the forum, but that also check and validate that proposals really fit into and follow the defined rules of this framework. Yeah, so the framework is quite specific in how a proposal needs to be structured, what needs to be included into it, and all the things definitely we can also talk about and define. But yeah, I propose that we have a couple of people from the community that take on some responsibility in the forum and would be announced to be moderators of the governance category in our forum. And the question is clear that first of all, how should be the selection process for these moderators, and what criteria should they fulfill to actually become a moderator in the forum? Yeah. So are there any criteria that we would want to have them to fulfill to be able to do this job? And also, how many do we need? Yeah. So this is, I think, an interesting topic. I have provided also some links in the docs already to the documentation of discourse, where there is quite well documented what rights moderators normally have in the forum. But the cool thing in discourse is also everything is actually customizable. So we can really define very exactly what a moderator would be allowed and what not. Yeah, and so if somebody wants to look deeper into this, I'm happy to also provide feedback there and give some deeper information. And maybe this would be something that would be useful to prepare for one of the next week's meetings, that we have an overview of what tasks, what is a moderator allowed in the forum, and also have some recommendations, what would be some interesting or good criterias for the selection process, and how should we do the selection process as a community. Does this, yeah?
Quick question, Philo, just to clarify, which I think will help us. What is your idea of the difference between a moderator and an admin?
Yeah, that's good. So basically, an administrator of the discourse forum is somebody that has basically superpowers. Yeah, so an admin can do everything there. He can approve things, he can delete things, he can change things, whatever they like, and sees everything, even IP addresses of users and things like this. So this basically in the moment are only Antonio and myself, and a moderator for the governance forum would, in my opinion, get the rights to approve posts that wanted to become a phase 2. Yeah, so basically phase 1 is just a discussion. Yeah, so everybody can post a discussion there, and but tagging it as phase one would request a moderator approval. Yeah, so we can have in the forum, of course, discussions about nearly everything. But if somebody wants to start a process of bringing something up for a vote in the end, then he would need to tag this. When you create a post there, you can give the post a tag, and if you are tagging it with phase 1, phase 2, or phase 3, your post will go into an approval process, and the moderator has to look into the post and approve that this fits into the criteria uh, that you want to have it. Yeah, if you want to have it in the phase 2, you cannot be there if there wasn't a post already in phase 1 and things like this. And so moderators would then see this posts and would need to approve that the post fits into the defined criteria. They give it or they approve the post, and then the post will be published. That's one task of a moderator, and they would only get this permission in the governance category. Yeah, because we also have a research and development category and all kind of stuff that IOTA Foundation, the researchers are using there. But this has nothing to do with governance, so the moderators won't have any special rights in these other categories there. Yeah, so that's basically what a moderator would do. Check if a post fits the criteria, and if all criteria are fit, then approve the post. And yeah, that's the thing. This would work for phase 1, phase 2, and also phase 3. Basically, I think that's mostly what a moderator has to do. I think I have defined it in the doc. Let me see. Here, the forum moderators have. This would be my proposal. Yeah, so daily check the forum if new posts are submitted that are requested to become a phase 1, 2, or 3 or emergency proposal. And if there is a new post, then check every requested post if it fulfills the approval requirements that are defined in this framework. If all the requirements are met, then approve the post or basically publish it in the forum category and add the identifier number. That's kind of a continuous growing number. It will start with proposal 1 basically, and then proposal 2, proposal 3, that we have a unique number that follows a proposal through the whole process. Yeah, so the moderator would just be required to put this number into the post so that we always know, okay, this is the post and this is belonging to here. What else? If there would be, this is something that we of course have to talk about, this thing with the runoff posts. So if there would be several options in a poll in the forum, basically if there is an undecided poll that it's very tight or very close to each other, then maybe put up a second poll between the two most favored options so that we come to a final decision in the end, to have a binary decision, yes or no, or option A or option B. But this is something we will discuss if this is even needed or if this is even something the community wants to have something like this. Also, because when a proposal moves to phase 3, basically it becomes a vote in Firefly. There are some more tasks to do for the proposer. Yeah, so basically everything
has time, because as we see with kind of how much work Holger puts in, like it's not like, hey, I do this as a side job. If that makes sense.
And I think from what it sounds like, at least in the beginning, Philo and Antonio will be these admin roles and participating. But I think given that it's a community governance, it would be great to have moderators that are kind of doing, also participating and learn, and could take over one day, or also kind of provide a little checks and balance, so it's community and IF together. But I want. Do people think like a good requirement would be to have at least 6 months on some IOTA social media like Discord, um, Twitter, Sooniverse, something?
Have I been
I
down?
think that's pretty fair.
What do you think, Overclock?
I'm sorry, I was just in another meeting. I'm sorry. What was the question?
We're discussing like, okay, so we're gonna have admin moderators for this governance framework, and for at least the moderators, um, to be submit like, should there be any requirements of someone that wants to be a moderator? You know, like let's say 6 months in the IOTA community and can, you know, at least publicly state, not publicly state, but at least will state, hey, I'm willing to do so many hours per week towards this. You know, doesn't mean they have to and they could be lying, but at least we have those requirements there.
As from personal experience, I cannot recommend moderation for anyone to be a moderator.
you asked you asked the wrong one. Hey, you really asked it. uh,
Unless they can deal with all the trauma.
Hey, Overclock,
Well,
you know, in this forum, moderation will be much nicer and easier because there will be no spec and there will be no chatting actually. There's just like it's just like bureaucratic work, like okay, there's a proposal, I read it, okay, all requirements set, approve. Thank you. No chatting, no memes, no spamming.
No, Philo, you know, nothing good comes out of moderation.
I know, I know. Yeah, but
with,
But to be honest, what are the rules for moderation in Discord till now? To become moderator in Discord, are there some rules? Are there some requirements?
the requirements is that the IOTA Foundation selects you and the other, not the IOTA Foundation, the other mods select you and propose you, and you have to have a clean slate. Let's say it like this. Yeah.
Yeah, you need to. I mean, there are like the rules for the server that everybody's aware of. It's listed, you know, in the rules channel. But then there's a lot of things that you have to kind of learn as you moderate, and it takes time, you know, to like diffuse tension and stuff like that. So I think this is like very different type of moderation, though, right, Philo?
Yeah, because
yeah.
you are really have to moderation in the IOTA Discord is really community work and working with the community, and basically it's a very difficult social task because you have every day you have a couple of thousand persons all over the world actively socializing and engaging, and the forum will not be a place for this. A forum is just a couple of posts per week about very specific and mostly very technical or things. There is no chat, there's no potentially no heated discussions and things like this. So there is no real moderation work need to put in place, hopefully, if it's not getting taken over.
Would you say this is more like an administrative thing
Yeah.
than the kind of moderation that we think of on this server?
Yes, it's from I think basically also for what I see, if you look into forums of other DAOs and of other projects, it's mostly completely administrative. Yeah, so there is no social chatting in such a forum. Yeah, so it's not like, hey, good morning, how are you, everybody? Oh yeah, I'm fine. Yeah, this is all happening in the Discord. So nothing of this stuff is happening there. The forum is clearly only for working on governance proposals and doing this. I mean, if we have people that start spamming stuff there, then we will have to see how we manage this. But I don't see it in other forums. Maybe they have moderators that keep it really clean and they delete and block and kick out all the bad actors there. But I haven't seen that this is a big task in other communities.
So, okay, so we focused this one. If we did like maybe just a basic criteria to kick it off with, and then again in that test phase we could see kind of how that plays out and adjust accordingly. But I mean, I think I do. To me, a 6 month, 6 months in some IOTA social media that is tied to the same identity in the governance um, deal, and then that they be willing to put in, 3 to 4 hours, 2 to 4 hours a week, I guess. I
I
mean,
mean,
does anyone?
yeah, yeah, you can even be a bit more specific. I mean, if we all have chat histories everywhere, yeah. So I mean, this is basically what we do. If somebody proposes a new moderator in the Discord, it's the same. We go through the whole chat history of this person and see if there have been comments that have been abusive against other community members, against yeah, we have. I mean, you have all this the history of mod logs. You see how many warnings, how many mute, whatever people had. I mean, this is something, if somebody proposes to become a moderator, we will, of course, very likely use all available history of such a person to validate if there is anything that would speak against being a trusted moderator in such a thing, because it is a trusted position. And if somebody has a history of being a troll or whatever, then it's probably not the best person to become a moderator in such an important role. Yeah.
Sure. I mean, yeah, and I do agree with that. I mean, though someone may have a year on Reddit, I guess we could check their Reddit
You,
profile, and then the
yeah.
question becomes who checks that, and
Mm.
just because you dropped off there, your signal went out when you
Yeah.
were
Yeah.
talking earlier. So just correct me if I'm wrong. You said on the admins who have the ultimate authority,
Yeah.
it's only you and Antonio, no one else.
Me, Antonio, and Mark in the moment, I think, and I think one of our IT administrators to because you need access to the server backend and all this stuff. Yeah. So.
I guess I would then maybe say at least two moderators should probably be from the Treasury Governance Group. And then the admins and the two moderators can then vet how many ever moderators we want. Let's just say we want five.
Mm.
So then three other people can um, propose themselves outside of the Treasury governance, if so be it, or inside, doesn't really matter. But I guess to me, just so it's not like just IF people
Absolutely, absolutely. I would really,
proving,
I
you
would
know,
really recommend, and it's actually a great suggestion to really take somebody of you guys here, because you are active. You basically have a knowledge and understanding of governance. You're part of the whole process, and yeah. So if you ask somebody that has no idea what a DAO and everything is, of course they can do the basic tasks, but it will always be difficult for them to really follow up things. So somebody
mhm,
somebody from this group that is interested in taking on such a task would be perfect fit, I think. Yeah.
mhm. Okay. So let me just type that out. Let's say two from the governance channel, and then maybe a total of five moderators.
Yeah.
Do people have any thoughts on that?
For a better understanding, might it be like this that when there is a request for phase two, one moderator tells the proposal for approved, or is it the whole of all moderators?
I
Currently,
I, I had the same question
yeah, you put
in
it up there. Yeah. I think this is something to discuss. Currently, it's only one moderator. Yeah. So whoever one of the moderators approves it, it is approved. Yeah.
Wait,
and
so Deep Sea, you're saying that there's going to be two Discord moderators on the governance channels and then three on the forum?
no,
I'm
no, no.
sorry.
So
No,
so yeah,
okay.
so we're just trying to discuss kind of like in the governance, Shimmer, framework, which essentially is on that governance website. Basically, we're going to need moderators and admins. So the moderators are going to be doing like the ground level tasks, if I'm assuming this correct, which is like watching phase one, and when a, a submittal in phase one gains enough traction, they can be tagged for phase two. So moderators or admins can do that. And then come to phase two. And part of that is, does their proposal fit the template? Does their submittal fit maybe the guiding principles to move on to phase two, et cetera, et cetera. And then it comes into phase two, and they're going to start structuring, I think, their vote. So does the vote structure fit the format that what is us and that will be suitable to go to Firefly, et cetera, et cetera. And then phase two is going to be more to that quantitative aspect where in some way we set quantitative parameters to say, okay, this has gained enough traction, it's ready to move to phase three. So there'll be moderators just on that governance website. So the question becomes, who is the requirements to become that moderator? And who's going to us? How are we gonna vote for them? How are we gonna approve them, etc. So we, the admins, which have to be Philo, Antonio, Mark, and an IT guy, which is sort of managing a lot of the back end stuff with IP addresses and etc., which is sensitive information. Um, you know, they will be checking for people that want to become moderators. They'll be checking, but I'm saying just so it's not just IF saying, okay, these are the moderators, or these are the moderators that
Right.
can go to a vote. Go ahead.
So in my mind, right, the administrative stuff is just checking stuff like in a form that they've filled things correctly and they're not breaking rules, and that the proposals meet the requirements like in a
Right.
form,
Yeah.
right?
Correct.
But then there's stuff between the phases that needs to be quantified, right? Like, what does it mean to gain traction? Like, how are you going to do the polls, and how many people actually need to vote before the poll matters, and what is the threshold of that poll?
Th-
So
Right.
This,
that kind of stuff is kind of how are we going to quantify that, and then how are we
Right.
going to make it so that it's not a person deciding that, but
yeah,
it's the
So,
community,
so
right?
hold on. I'll clear. Have you checked out Asa's category uh, Google Doc?
Yeah, I looked at it today.
Okay. So she has polls and voting,
Right.
and I'm assuming polls and voting is going to have some of that quantitative stuff. But right now we're working on roles and moderator. So I think that was one of my questions I brought up is how do we quantify when something moves from phase one to phase two and phase two to phase three? And that's something that we need to agree as a group, as a community. Um, but I think that's a separate category. You know what I mean?
And
but
that's my point.
yes,
Yeah.
Right.
but they will
Exactly.
definitely we will definitely make very clear rules for the moderators that they only have to check. Okay, there have been 100 votes in the poll in phase two, and the poll has the thing has more than 50% approval. Okay, this can move to phase three. Yeah, and in phase yeah.
And I think in the bridge fund that we were doing very good on this too. The big vision and idea is delegates, moderators, admins, whatever you want to call them, they shouldn't deny or accept a proposal on a biased opinion.
Yeah, there
The
shouldn't be
only
anything.
time a proposal should pass is because it's achieved a set framework that we, the community, agreed. Hey, if a proposal meets these criteria, it gets to move on and it
Yeah,
gets eventually voted on. It's not that someone says, well, this person's putting a proposal on to have IOTA used in American gridiron football, and I like soccer. Damn it, I don't want it to move on.
yeah,
So, but and that's kind of to some extent where I think some aspect of guiding principles come in to you know for malicious proposals. And so if a proposal gets rejected by a moderator, they should have some type of substantial document to say, well, it didn't meet this, and this is a criteria for it to pass on. And then what we had talked about in the bridge fund is if anything gets rejected, a small summary written by a moderator gets written up, or a delegate or whatever, I forget what we're calling them, a team member, and say, hey, proposal came into phase one, there was some traction, the submitter requested to be tagged to move to phase two, we reviewed it. However, um, it fell under this guideline that it's involving politics, and we don't, we're just, this DAO is not to take a political stance on any issue. We've referred back to the submitter to, if he would like to change his proposal, he can resubmit, so it's transparent so that everyone knows why this did not pass on to phase two, because undoubtedly when something gets denied, which there will be, they're going to go, why did it get denied, and what can I do different to get it pushed through, right? So,
You could
but
you could
that's, to me, that's the moderators and the admins, is that they're, you know, managing these administrative actions, but without bias involved.
yes.
If that makes sense.
You
Yeah.
could even in discourse you can make it really nice. You can have a category. We can call it rejected, and so every proposal that comes in and but is rejected because it doesn't meet any of the criteria will just automatically be posted in this rejected category. So everybody publicly sees, okay, there was a proposal, it was rejected, and then the moderator just comments under the proposal and says, okay, proposal rejected because you did not include a poll in it for phase two. Bam. So do you have a documented process? Okay, moderator XY rejected a proposal because criteria 1.7 of the framework was not met. And then it's documented, it's there. And then if the proposer wants to change it, you can repropose it. And if the criteria is met, then it will be just moved and accepted. So I think that's not a really complex task. We just need to define exactly the metrics that are set to accept or reject a proposal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm
So
assuming a lot of projects have models for this that we can follow, right? That we,
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, if you look into it, most projects handle it quite not very, let's say, you don't see in forums really rejected proposals. Normally, most of the thing that is spam will just be deleted, yeah, because in the end, if you have some actors and they every day they make 50 proposals that are completely nonsense, you don't want to have a moderator write a statement to every proposal that is just obviously spam. You just delete it. Yeah. We have to
well, that
define this, but others
I
handle
like
this via very, yeah, not
I
really documented. Yeah.
I like that, actually, where maybe a moderator and admin can define and tag a troll. If someone's submitted 3 rejected proposals, then from there on they can just reject the proposal without having to write a summary. That kind of, I can see
Yeah, you
that
can
totally makes
you
sense.
can you can block it. You can remove the right from a user to post in the forum at all, or to post in a certain category, or to use a tag or things like this. You can really, if we get people that really want to abuse the forum for their personal agenda or whatever, we have the same tools and rights as we have in Discord and in other things. I mean, there might be people that are doing this. We have to be prepared for this. And then if people really want to troll the forum with whatever shit, I mean, they just get kicked out and banned or whatever. So that's not, yeah. If there's obvious reasons for things like this, or somebody's making abusive or sexistic comments or stuff like this, just kick them out. And then it's like,
So just focusing
just
on
mhm.
the moderator admin, and just focusing on how many moderators we should have, and how we're going to um, appoint. I mean, if we just focus on that, not getting into the nitty gritty on what they do,
Yeah.
um, you know, I guess in my mind, kind of like what you propose, I think 5 moderators is good. And if we, maybe do a vote of 2 moderators from the governance group, and then those 2 moderators and the admins can vet the any additional 3 moderators that come from the governance group or anywhere else, and potentially have a vote. I don't know. What do you guys think?
What do you guys
Yeah,
think?
sounds like a good start. Sounds like a good start for sure. Sorry, guys, I'm kind of just listening in, but I'm trying to listen in while I'm working.
Yeah, cool.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, should we
I'll keep my
Yeah,
should we
chat channel
then
too.
yeah should we then keep this or make this kind of a task for next week? Maybe that we can discuss this in the channel. We can propose something, or does anybody wants to take on this task and say, okay, next week I'll present shortly what would be very likely a good way to do this, and we decide it next week.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'd be happy to tackle that with anyone else.
Cool.
Sure. Could we clearly define what this is? Just for kind of summarizing it.
You talking about the group or the moderator admin thing?
Well, I'm talking about. Somebody's talking about what are we trying to tackle for this, and I want to make sure what we want to like. What is clearly do we need to have defined by next week? So if it's talking about how do we vote for the moderator, those type of like.
I think
exactly.
Let's use the sheet. Yeah.
Yeah, and let's add in somewhere that we could put names. So like I definitely think number 2 roles, what are the rights difference between 4 admins and the forum moderators? Philo, you can probably just write that out, and
So
then
basically point number 2 and number 4, yeah? 4 would be what is the selection process and criteria for moderators in the forum. So these 2 things kind of belong together. I'll just put JD here somewhere. I'll just do it here. JD and also here.
You know, I for this kind of stuff, I feel like just, like Philo and JD or somebody can make the decisions and just implement it, and then we can see if it works or not. Like because I don't know what if even if we voted for this, nobody would really have a basis on their opinion. Do you know what I mean? Like I would have no idea if you needed 2 moderators or 4 moderators, or what rights they needed on that forum. So I feel like, like Philo, you have a lot of knowledge on this, and JD, you've been thinking about this a lot. So I feel like you guys should just implement some number and what they're going to be doing, and then we as a community can see how that plays out over time.
I mean,
Is that weird? Is that weird for me to
No,
say?
That's what I think as well, that it depends on the dynamic in the forum. So maybe we will see in the test phase very fast that for the few moderators it's far too much work, and then we have to go for more moderators. So it will never be fixed forever.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like Philo and JD and somebody else can kind of, just make these decisions right now.
Or let's say like this: would somebody like to become a moderator in the forum? Yeah, you can basically propose yourself, or here now, or in the channel, and say, "Hey, that sounds like an interesting thing. This could be something that I would like to spend 1 to 3 hours a week." Or in the beginning, I mean, in the moment, it's anyway nothing really happening there around Shimmer governance. So basically, when we really go live with the things, so the next couple of weeks until we have made a decision on this framework, it's not yet implemented, so we actually don't have, but we can already test or install them, and they can have a look on actually what it is. So if somebody wants to do this and become one, we can just start and test things. Huh?
why don't we also maybe I again, I mean, of course I love you. At the end of the day, I just want when people look back and say, how did the governance framework be built for Shimmer that eventually was used for the IOTA treasury and the Shimmer treasury? I really just want people to go, oh, the IF included the community and the community built it with the IF consultation, rather than it just being, well, the IF built it because they had the time and the IF was great to pay someone to do it. But so, I mean, that's personally why I'm active. And, I think if people, if anyone, I think I'm happy to take hours out of the week to build this thing with Philo, who I think is great, and Asa. And I think if anyone else wants to, welcome to it. And if we want to take sort of more, a few of us like Philo and I and anyone else that wants to start knocking out these categories, and then we discuss it in the Tuesday meeting and the Thursday meeting. I mean, we could certainly do that.
Yeah, I think I totally agree with you on the spirit of the thing, but I feel like a lot of this framework and like the minutia of setting this stuff up, most people here do not have the knowledge or the experience to have informed decisions, opinions. So I feel like the people who have enough time on their hands to look into this stuff should actually build it, right, with our support. And then I feel like once it's set, the community will get involved because it's set, and then it's easy for them to vote or to argue stuff, right? But the actual like little details about this kind of stuff, I almost feel like you and Philo and somebody else who has the time and is interested in this should kind of set it up and just keep people updated. Like for me, like when I read this stuff, right, I have no idea like how many moderators you need or what rights they have, and I don't feel like I should be making a decision on that or voting on that, because I have no idea. I have to see it in action.
I mean, I agree. I agree that's one view, and I think that's why I look at it as we're just getting a test case. We're just building a test case to let it run and see how it plays out, see how the
Right.
metrics play out, see how the data, and then we can adjust thereafter. So, and I think as long as we all understand that, it doesn't need to be perfect. We just need to get a community consensus on it and then start tweaking it thereafter. But why don't
if you want, I have time kind of so that we can kind of connect. So if you want to do it, I'll help, and we can kind of brainstorm the different options and see. Because I think we worked really well when we talked it out with like Marco and doing kind of the setup. So I'm totally fine helping and doing that.
Yeah,
why
so
don't
you guys can do that like on Tuesday,
Well, no. What I'm saying is, what we should do, I think, and I think that will probably be the most efficient way is, if Philo, myself, and Andy, and anyone else, we want to tackle roles. So we'll take roles moderator, roles form admin, this category. Let's try one category encompassing moderator, admins, and roles. And we'll try to go through and give decisions on these, and then we'll discuss those decisions on Tuesday's meeting. And if everyone is happy with them, then boom, we've knocked out, 6 out of 26 questions. And if that method works, where we spend the time in between the meetings to give something tangible to these questions and build the framework, and then we all decide yes, and then next week, 2 weeks later, we're not going to go back and rediscuss it though. Like once it's decided, we just go with it to again get it out testing, and then once it's testing, we can see how it goes and adjust accordingly. But is everyone okay with that?
So yeah, so I feel like what Philo was saying on yesterday's meeting is like the right approach, which is this kind of stuff about the details and the minutia. I think people who have the time and the knowledge to look into it should get together and set it up, like you, Andy, and Philo, and whoever else has the time, right? And in the interest, do you know what I mean, to actually do this stuff, right? And I feel like today, for me, I would like to talk about like the separation between the forum and like Discord in terms of consensus and the polling. Like Philo has mentioned a few times that most projects do it this way by having a forum, right? But me as somebody who's seeing this community in different perspectives, I feel like a lot of the conversation is happening on this server. You know,
Mm.
so I'm kind of curious to see how to integrate what is going on in Discord with what will be going on in that forum. So like if there's a proposal that's getting traction, how can we also have that proposal? Like, can we give it a separate channel here
We have
so
we have
people?
already we have already. I mean, we have a channel. All proposals in the governance category get automatically posted in the Discord. So we have a channel here, governance forum. So all posts out. We have a bot that automatically posted it there.
No, you mean the governance forum where there's a bot that's posting the posts that happens in the forum, right?
Yeah, they get posted here.
No, what I'm saying is let's say once the framework is set up, right,
Mhm.
Philo, and a proposal is getting traction, and let's say like the proposal is 1, 2, 3, 4A, like so that's the title,
Yeah.
right? Can we have a channel here that says proposal 1, 2, 3, 4A?
Yeah, that's basically that's a good idea. I thought about this. We could make a thread or a channel where we say, okay, these are the active proposals in phase one. Yeah. Because basically
Uh-huh.
phase one is discussion. If this discussion happens in the forum or if others, there's probably more room for discussion in this initial phase in Discord. Then we can give such a proposal a channel or a thread here, and then everybody that has an opinion on it and wants to discuss things like this can do it also here in the Discord. The only differentiator that I would do is that we have to see, even if Discord is a closed system, um, you have to you cannot look from outside into the Discord. And so this is why the forum is a nice thing, because basically everybody can Google what is happening in the IOTA community governance in the moment. Even if he's not a member, he can read all the posts and the comments there, which is not possible in Discord. Yeah, and so this is why, to be open and transparent also to the outside world, this forum is a great thing to have. Then when you go closer to a decision making, then phase two and phase three things should mainly happen in the forum, I think. But for the initial discussion in phase one, which can sometimes take many weeks, I think, until an idea is fixed and so well prepared that it can become really a votable proposal. Um, we can definitely make a channel then for it here in the Discord, where the main discussion, the main basic discussion happens in the community, and then actually the person that wants to propose this can collect all these opinions and information and make a really good and thought through phase two proposal out of all this input that you get from the community. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's a really good idea, and the reason why I was bringing it up now was because I saw like the same poll that was put here and on Twitter, and the results were completely different, right?
Yeah.
So to me, it's kind of interesting to see, the community in different platforms actually having different opinions and kind of like group mind where it's kind of fractured and separate,
Mhm.
right? And I'm just curious to see how many people actually go to the forum. Like, what is the activity there compared to the activity on Discord? And actually, what's interesting is that, when I go to the Korean forum, their mindset is completely different too. Do you know what I mean? Like, they
To
do their own polls and
to
they have
which
their own conversations.
to which forum?
The Korean forum, Korean.
Ah, the Korean. Oh yes, yeah, 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 of
IOTA.
course,
Y-
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yes. So they do their own polls and they have their own opinions about what's going on here.
Mhm.
You know. So to me, it's interest. I would be interested, at least in the beginning, just to see what the level of activity is between the different platforms like Discord
Mhm.
and the governance forum, and maybe even Twitter
Yeah,
and Reddit
I,
and stuff.
I mean
And
Discord and
The
the
forum
yeah.
the forum seems to be getting a lot of traction now, though. You know, before it didn't seem like there was a lot of eyes on it, and you know, Discord's easy to jump in, ask questions, submit something via Discord. But it seems that the forum right now is every day there's new proposals or at least submittals to a proposal, and it seems that the forums are really starting to get traction. So I think that's still a good way to communicate, especially when you want to get out deep thoughts and really big proposals. I think the forum's great.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
that's that.
I was a bit surprised because I think when it came to the bill versus burn vote, most polls put outside was actually voted on, and I'm a little surprised that this 20% vote, it is different. But I think, and I'm definitely intrigued on how can we what can we do better to integrate? And even when I did a poll with my Twitter following to just say, do you even know the government governance website exists? 30% said they didn't even know. And it has been communicated. I did go through and look at Medium articles, but I think there's just so much going on in this space. But I do agree that through we just test things out and try to get more of that integration between the different mediums into at least a centralized like the governance for voting, but then the discussions can happen elsewhere, et cetera. And I think we should just try to essentially track the data on that and start as we test the framework out, try to see if we can better integrate the broader community into that stuff. I totally agree with.
Yeah, and the good thing is we have pretty good data for the server here, of course, and also for Discourse. Yeah, Discourse has a lot of analytics. You have a lot of as an admin, and then also as a moderator, you have access to a lot of usage statistics, and you really see that the forum gets like somebody said gets traction. A lot of new users sign up. We have a lot of daily views since we promoted it also and we focus and there's activity happening and so people kind of realize okay um, from time to time check in the forum or basically it's all on us how we make it the more we share and retweet things and bring and lead the discussion there it will pick up but we have so many different channels and we have a wide spread community we have many people in Telegram that never ever open Discord and so basically thinking about having ways to get all together in stating their opinions in the forum would be kind of cool, but it will take time, I think, until we are there. Yeah.
Hey, follow. Would it be possible to share those numbers and stuff with the community?
Yeah, sure,
Or
sure. I
oh,
can,
that'd be cool.
yeah, I can share it here tomorrow. I have quite good overview. Let's say over the last 3 months or something, you really see whenever there was a new, I mean, like of course, whenever Dom posts something, but we have, yeah, we have. Quite a lot of page views per day and reads of the post that is currently I think the current post has already 3,500 views the copy proposal and I think Dom's post about the first one that he did with the shimmer how we do the Shimmer denomination had I think 5 or 7,000 views in total. So it's quite okay and good. Also compared to the visitors in Discord and things like this. So yeah, when there is activity, people, it looks like a part of the community definitely sees it, yeah, or those that are interested in it. I think.
Cappy's proposal had 3,500 views.
Yeah, I think 3,000 now, something like this. And the first of him had 4,000, so something like so a couple of thousand views already. Yeah, but only 10% have voted in the end. Yeah, but it gets a lot of views. Yeah.
So, just in the matter of time, I don't know if people want to keep going on this, but maybe we can try to go over what.
Actually, I'm kind of curious. Like, Philo, do you want to You want that discourse to be the main platform for governance, right? Like
The
you
the I
prefer that.
the IF, and also I mean for concrete decision making and for this for really concrete focused decisions, I think Discord is just not. If you talk with people that not, I mean, you and I, we're daily using Discord, but if you talk with people that are only from time to time use Discord, everybody hates it. Similar like I hate Telegram, the Telegram people hate Discord. Yeah, so you kind of because it has very specific pros and cons. The forum is quite neutral, kind of. I think everybody can get along with it for just okay, read something, and if you have an opinion, you write something, and it's kind of it's a bit like Reddit where everything is structured in threads and categories there. So and as we see that the whole crypto space is doing it this way, um, and it has all these functionalities that you need, basically the forum would be the definitely preferred way of coming to these decisions. Um, and because it's publicly visible, yeah, Telegram or Discord, if you're not part of the server, you have no idea what's going on here. You cannot Google it. It cannot be found by search engines, and all this is possible for discourse. So if I want to know if anything is going on in the governance of another project, I just look into their forum. Yeah, I look into Uniswap, I look into MakerDAO forum, I look into Bankless DAO forum, and I see basically these are the topics that are discussed in the moment in this community, and these are the decisions that are taking. And I even don't need to be a part of the community, but it's public visible and public knowledge for everybody. And this is, I think, better as having it in a closed system for the final stage of decision making.
Yeah, and I feel, for me at least personally, I like Discord over Telegram, but things can. If I don't, if I'm not active in Discord for a couple of days, I completely feel lost when I come back, or it just seems that things get lost within these channels and these threads, and it just seems like the forum is a much easier way to kind of keep track of things, and you can jump back in and really kind of focus down on what you're looking for instead of I just feel like I'm lost in Discord sometimes. So the forum seems like a better um, medium
Yeah.
to use.
And experience in other projects tells that other projects see it similar. So I think we can definitely try to use it in the best way.
So I think the discourse is definitely necessary to have the structured conversations, and I'm curious to see how these proposals will go through these various phases with the mods and the admins and stuff. But you know, but actually building the framework, a lot of it is happening here on Discord. You
Mhm.
know, so
So, so I mean, I think the idea is once we have the framework, we can then use the framework to build things like the treasury and stuff like that on big decisions. So, and as well
on
as
this
then
on discourse in the forum, right?
right. And so the way I see it is like there's groups in Telegram. Apparently, there's a huge German Telegram group, but they don't really get in Discord. And then we have a Discord group, and then there's a Korean group. And I think that's fine because people find their niche mediums, but then they can, and at least for me, what I like to do is I go to, Discord mostly and occasionally Reddit to discuss things, to get people's ideas, to kind of refine my own idea. Because it's generally, I always want to kind of assess the community's thoughts and then come up with my own idea. And then after I do that, then I go to the discourse and make my post. And I think that works pretty good where the discussion is on different medium platforms where those communities are, but then they come back. And I think a key thing will be how do we quantify the interaction on the discourse website, the governance site, so that people can communicate outside of it, but it may be a upvote, a downvote, a like, maybe it's a vote, who knows what it is, whatever we come with that time, that it does fairly allow everyone from every medium around the world to support a vote or at least express their opinion against a vote, and then that way all the discussion aspect isn't convoluting and overshadowing all the proposal stuff, I guess,
Yeah.
Am I wrong for thinking this? Like, am I skewed? Because I almost feel like the proposals being discussed on the server here, people, or on Telegram, I have no idea, or on whatever other platform, I feel like the persuasion is happening here through discussions, or actually getting people to be aware of what people are discussing, and then the arguments and stuff. And then when I go to the forum, I see people who have already formed an opinion, just kind of stating why they have that opinion, like they're for it or they're against it.
Mm.
So
that's
do you
how
know
it
what I mean? So
that's
like
how
I
it
feel like it's like alive here. Like I can, like, when I'm like on the Discord server and I hear people talking about Cappy's proposal, I can see people arguing, and minds changing or minds agreeing and stuff here. And then when I go to the discourse forum, I kind of just see like affirmation or disagreement, but people just kind of stating it more coherently why they agree or why they don't agree.
But I think that's exactly what we want. We don't want the discussion back and forth in the governance. I guess what I like personally, again, and this is exactly what I do. I come on Discord, I talk to people, I get people's opinion, I do it on Twitter too, and then I get my own coherent opinion, and then I go on the discourse and I write that and
Yeah.
summary simplified.
Yeah.
But I also go through and read people's, and it's rather than them having 727 conversations, they've already done those conversations and then they summarize their point. So I kind of like that because I'm seeing
Right,
different people's
exactly.
points,
Right. That's how I see it too.
Mm.
I
Yeah. So
think it works great personally. But again, I think as long as we check that data, and again, this is why I'm a proponent. I mean, I'll do it anyways, but I hope other people do it, that we take polls in different mediums. And I mean, essentially, if our discourse governance and fly voting is a reflection of the community consensus, then all polls through mediums, Firefly, and governance should all relatively be in the same ballpark. And if they're not, and some are drastically different, then I think us as a community need to go, well, why is that community not being reflected in the Firefly vote? And just, that's going to be a constantly an ongoing thing to see,
Yeah,
are we integrating everyone and including? But that's just,
that's exact.
it will evolve over time.
Right. That was exactly my point that I first brought up. Is I would just be curious to see that in the beginning.
Yeah, 100%. Um, so, and I think that's one of the things where I try to hope that we have a diversified moderators group. We're not denying anyone from any, for any particular reason. And we're, in my mind, a moderators group over a community structure like that should at least, reflect the community as well. So hopefully, I think we'll be
mm.
able to do that.
No. Let's. Should we take Overclock's idea and say, okay, let's say JD, Andy, if somebody else wants to concretely work on this moderator questions and moderator roles and definition things, should we do this, JD? I can make us a thread in the channel where we specifically talk about this. Maybe we have a chat tomorrow morning or whatever, and
So
concretely
I,
work on that. Yeah.
I mean, we could do a thread in the channel, whatever. I'd be happy. I like doing voice
For me, the same.
groups.
Yeah.
I know Marco's involved. We created a chat with you, a DM that we can come up with a time and probably maybe just try to do voice calls and then get something that we can present to Tuesday's meeting. And if people want us to do it in a channel too, we can do that. I just don't want to get too many channels all over the place, but
Yes.
whatever we can
Oh,
find what works and we can test things out. And then,
yeah.
I think we should start off just the four of us coming up with a time and doing a voice
Yeah,
chat and try to knock this stuff out.
I'm always happy to do talking. I like talking more than writing, definitely. Yeah, cool. And then we I hope all the others that joined have a time and also like to read up a bit, keep track on distractions. If there is something that is coming to your mind that you think, hey, cool, that's interesting. Basically, I would really like to find out and help on that. Drop a message in the channel. Very happy for everyone that wants to help on that. And so then we really should see that we get every meeting a couple of tasks from this list resolved. Um, put it in the document then if we have made a decision. Um, and yeah, work through this over the next couple of weeks until we are really can start to put it up to a vote and go live with it. Yeah.
So, real quick, can we combine ASA's milestone structure, maybe bring that tab into your
Yeah.
governance framework sheet that has the categories, and then, or is that already in there? And then we could probably just take off the first sheet. Was it possible just to kind of combine sheets? So,
Yes. Yes. Yes.
and then we'll make it editable. So when we're working on these tasks, Marco and Andy and I and you can maybe we'll make the notes section bigger. We can write notes if we're not doing the voice chat, or anyone can write notes actually.
Mhm.
And then that'd be cool. Yeah.
Absolutely. ASA
Awesome.
can
Thank you, sir.
can combine this. Yeah, and then we work through that.
Cool. Awesome. All right.
Amazing.
We're making headway.
Yes, that's good. I think it's pretty good that we also really talk these things a bit through because it's a really complex and we have to figure out how it's the best approach for us to work with all this stuff here and to make progress. Um, Anybody else has some pressing questions for today, or are we kind of green? No? Okay. Then let's call it a day. We will have the next meeting on next Tuesday, 4 p.m. CET. And then we're gonna present some results, I think, already. And yeah, work through the open questions and nail this whole thing pretty good down and then move forward. Yeah.
Nice.
Cool. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
I'll upload the recording. I don't know. Yeah, but it'll in a couple of hours it will be live. And yeah, thanks everyone, and have a good night.
Good night. Take care.
Okay,
Yee.
good night. Thanks, guys.
Night.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you.